headphone. Oh, wait. Mute that. There we go. No, that's not you. Don't worry about that. You were here a previous recording. I was like, that's funny. It's hearing me talking. Let's do a quick mic check, and then we'll get started on this. Let me hear you just say mic check.
Mic check.
Yeah. Put this a little bit lower. Okay. A few more times.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Sounds good to me, man. All right, let's go. I forgot which music I wanted to go with. We'll go with this one. Sounds good. Hey, Ranters, this is Miguel here with Empty Rant, and today we are talking about the GoFundMe account with Ryan. Welcome, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Miguel. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I wanted to just sit down and talk to you about your GoFundMe campaign that you have going on right now. It's to contribute to scientific research. And for those of y'all that haven't had a chance, if you go to the emptyrant.com website, under links, we have a link that goes directly to Ryan's website here. Ryan, you want to give us a little overview on what you're doing here, man?
Yeah, let me first just start by saying thanks for giving me the opportunity to share this with your listeners.
Oh, yeah.
One of the first hurdles I'm trying to overcome here is just exposure. So I'm always excited to speak to folks who want to listen. But just a real quick history on, the platform here. It's the UC Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley, put together a program that they call the Berkeley Open Infrastructure for Network Computing. That's a lot to say. So in short, we just say BOINC. It's also more fun to say. But UC Berkeley partnered with SETI in 2002. SETI is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, to develop software that would allow them to use the idle time of home computers to process just massive amounts of data that SETI had to handle. Today, UC Berkeley has about 250,000 participants in this program. And those participants, on average, have about 500,000 computers that are operating at any time. So it's a really massive network of computers that's crunching data. Now, I don't want you to get too focused on the SETI deal. SETI was the initial program launch with BOINC, but they've since extended it to over 50 other scientific projects. These projects range from astronomy, physics, chemistry, to biology and medicine. There's earth sciences. There's about 16 of these astronomy and physics projects that are pretty interesting. Just to take two of them for an example, we have Milky Way at Home. It's doing research and modeling and determining the evolution of the Milky Way galaxy. And then there's also Einstein at Home. Einstein at Home works by searching through data collected by gravitational wave detectors, and they're searching for evidence of periodic sources such as spinning neutron stars. So some really cool physics projects are being done on this platform. The biology and medicine, lots of RNA research, and they're also doing, trying to find cures for things like HIV, malaria, and cancer.
Now, those people that want to contribute to, I mean, not only like monetarily, but can they also donate their computer processing power?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, like I said, there's about 250,000 participants in the program right now. So first and foremost, I want to reach out to people and ask them to just take a look at UC Berkeley's website, see if they would like to join, if any of these projects really strike home. There's quite a few computers out there that just sit idle, and that idle time could be used for something constructive, something that could impact us today, here and now.
So how does that work? If I donate my computer time, and is there a program I download and they're using it during a time period that I specify?
Yeah, the BOINC software is what you would download, and through that you get to select your project, and then you can edit your preferences. So for example, you can tell it only compute when I'm using less than X percentage of my computing power. You can have it only work when you're completely idle. Now, the one kicker here is that a lot of people turn their computers off, or they have laptops and they close the lid and it goes to sleep. If you do that, your computer isn't able to use that idle time.
No,
So
go ahead.
I was going to say, so you would have to kind of change your computing habits if you were to download this.
If someone had, I download the Boeing software, am I left more vulnerable, like to viruses or people hacking my computer?
No, absolutely not. The Boink software reaches out to the UC Berkeley servers to grab packets of information to process. So there isn't any opportunity for somebody to introduce anything like a virus because it's not running these executable programs. It's just simply looking at data and running the calculations. So it's incredibly safe. Uh,
Why are you passionate about this? Why start a GoFundMe account in the first place for this?
well, I realize that there's a couple different groups out there of folks who can't participate. Uh, for example, there's a lot of people in this new generation, the millennial generation, that might not necessarily even own a computer. They have tablets and smartphones. A lot of them I see with Windows Surface 2 tablets that have Microsoft Office on them. Now, these things are great, but with mobility comes a severe cut in power and also computing time. So there might be some people out there that are interested in participating in these scientific projects, but just can't participate with their computers. And there's also folks that are out there that are probably already participating that might see the advantage to some of the mass processing that I've put forth in this campaign. I'm not just looking to put a computer up on here to crunch numbers. I'm looking to put together a computer that's specifically designed for these types of calculations. And by doing so, you can get anywhere from 10 to 16 times more computing power than what you might get from a computer that you just buy at Best Buy.
I've heard about mass computing. What comes to mind is Bitcoin mining. I don't know if you've that's where people like put together all their just to. This definitely seems like a greater cause if you're like searching for, I mean, doing scientific research and for medical and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into the question I haven't quite answered yet on why I'm passionate about it. I actually learned about this several years ago when I was watching the Science Channel, and they were going over the information that SETI was processing. And I just thought that the idea of donating this idle computer time for something meaningful just sounded like a really cool opportunity. So I started taking a look at the Boink software, and there's some just incredible projects out there. The ones that I mentioned previously, the physics and the astronomy ones, just kind of really struck home with me. I'm a big science nerd. I love space. And I think that, this gives us an opportunity to understand the universe we live in. But I've recently started dating this Brit, and she's incredible. And she's the yin to my yang.
Okay.
So my head has been in the clouds for years, up in the sky, thinking about these really cool physics projects. But more recently, she's kind of had me focused on what can we do to affect the world we live in today? How can we help make somebody's life better tomorrow? And that's when I got a little bit more involved in some of the biology projects, specifically the Rosetta Home. They're trying to determine three-dimensional shapes of proteins, and that research could ultimately lead to finding cures for major human diseases. We're talking about HIV, malaria, cancer, even Alzheimer's. So, there isn't just understanding our universe. There's actually an opportunity to affect people's lives.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger selling point for me, and definitely why I got more interested in this, because it's one thing to think about like doing research in space. I'm all for it. Definitely have a lot of interest in space and stuff like that. But there's a lot of things here in in this world that we still need to look into, and especially within our I guess own human genome that we still need to explore. And just like you said, if we can make the world better for someone tomorrow by just doing this research, I have several computers that are just sitting here, and if I could plug them in while I'm at work and someone's utilizing that for a greater cause, then why not?
Absolutely. And that's what has really gotten me more interested in the last year or so since I've started dating Vicky. She's really made me understand that, we might be able to do something very meaningful within our life.
Now, the specifications on the computer, does that necessarily matter? Does it have to be a desktop, laptop? Does it have to be running something like a specific operating system? Is that where the Boeing software will specify? But because
Boink is pretty versatile. It can run on Windows, Mac, Linux. It can even run on Android phones.
okay.
So it can run on a multitude of devices. Really, the only thing it has trouble with are Apple phones, iPads. I don't think there's an app available in the Apple Store for this software, but Android is a little more open, so you can get it on an Android phone. There's no specific requirements.
For my phone, it could be running off of the processing power.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that program only runs when your phone is plugged in and at 100%. So really, it would be doing a lot of the crunching overnight is mostly what you see.
Oh, yeah.
But again, any computer can do this. Now, not all computers are created equal. So you might have, for example, I have 6 computers right now that I'm running the software on.
Yeah, I saw your computer on your GoFundMe link here. I was like, man, this guy has all these computers right here. You got like you got a couple Macs, a Dell Optiplex, a Sony Vaio, and then also a iMac. Oh, well, yeah, the Macs as well. So.
Yeah, and I really wanted to put that on there so that people could see you don't necessarily need the biggest, most powerful computer that you can buy to do this. I have it running on some incredibly new iMacs, but I also have it running on a 2011 version of an iMac. I have it on a Sony Vaio laptop. I even have it on my Dell Optiplex, as you mentioned, which is my computer over at work. So there's a whole variety of computers that even I'm just using, and it's effective on all of these. But if you take a look at that, some of them obviously process the data better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I really started getting involved with how to maximize the processing here, how to get the biggest bang for your dollar if what you were interested in was just donating pure computing time and power.
How is your electricity bill at home?
That's a great question. And that's another reason that some folks might be really interested in these projects but not necessarily want to participate. Computers don't use a terrible amount of energy, but it's become kind of ingrained in our culture to turn them off, to let them go to sleep, to reduce the power. My energy bill, I have a 2-bedroom apartment. It's about $100 a month. If I had to just make a guess, I'd say that maybe 15 or 20 bucks of that was dedicated to the computers I'm running.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean that's one of my concerns whenever I look into something like this. If I have my wife gets on to me if I don't unplug every appliance after using it, which I hate because I always have to unplug the microwave, and when I plug it back in to use it, it's always blinking 12. And anyways, that's getting off track. How long is this GoFundMe campaign going to be going on?
Well, I didn't put a time constraint on it. I've just opened it up, and I'm going to keep it open to see what kind of a response I get. My first goal, obviously, is to put together the first computer that'll probably somewhere around maybe 5-6 times faster than one of the best iMacs out there. Let's say 12 times faster than your average Dell. But if the response is overwhelmingly positive, I fully intend on putting together more machines than that first one. And so for that reason, I just want to keep the campaign open.
And how do you feel like your response has been going so far? I'm looking at your GoFundMe page right now, and it looks like you're at $90 of a goal of $4,500. You've had Luke Skywalker donate $20, so that's you're getting a response from the Star Wars community.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty positive. No, it's only been online for just a bit over a week. The majority of the donations that I got were just in that immediate first and second day. There was a great response when I first put this up there. But since that initial response, what I found is that exposure is going to be something that I have to overcome. So now I'm just working on a better way to get this information to people so that they can take a look at what we're doing and decide whether or not they like it.
Okay. So I know, like, on Kickstarter and those kind of. This is the first time I actually look at a GoFundMe account. The only other time I've looked at GoFundMe was when we were thinking about doing one for our honeymoon. But this is obviously, I like the idea that it's for a much greater cause and we're moving towards. And for even those people that don't care about leaving their footprint or for the, I guess, having a positive impact on humanity. Is there anything that people receive as research is going whenever their computers are being used for this processing power? Do they get like a badge in the mail or some kind of sticker that says, I support Boink?
You know, UC Berkeley's worked on a couple of different things. They have badges that they award based on percentages of processing. So you get a silver badge if you're in the top 5%. You get a gold badge if you're in the top 1%. And what they've done is develop teams that allow you to work with other people that are kind of like-minded. There's Team USA. There's Team SETI, and then they kind of created an environment where you can compete against other teams to do more processing. So there's kind of an inherent competitive edge there. But then there's a couple of projects that didn't think that was enough, and they wanted to do something else. So, for example, one project is trying to find the largest prime numbers. And what they do is they use these computers to crunch the data. And if it's your computer that captures that prime number, they announce it to everybody on the project, and they do a little congratulations, and they put your name out there and say that you discovered this large prime number.
I remember,
so it's kind of cool.
I was learning C++, and one of the programs we wrote was to find prime numbers, and this one kid just put it on a repeat strand. Is that strand? Is that the right word there? I haven't done C++ in forever, but the code he put, and so he had it running, and I remember him leaving it going for a whole day, and the next day we were nowhere close to getting to a really high number. It was just keep going and going and going. So, I mean, just that helps me put it in perspective, the amount of computing power that would be needed to achieve the highest prime number, whatever that may be. And it just one of those numbers that take you longer to it'd be a really big number. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's just like
it's funny because I believe the largest prime number now is let's see, 17,425,000 digits long.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it takes longer to say it than like time allows. So I mean, all the digits out, and like a week could go by, and you're still like in the same number. Yeah. Enough seconds per day that would allow you. I guess if you're saying, it depends on how fast you talk, but so something like that, the highest prime number. What would be the purpose of that?
Well, that's one that I kind of just took a passing curiosity with. There's a couple of mathematic ones out there. I mentioned that there's these biology and these physics ones, but there's a few mathematic projects. The largest prime numbers, I don't think it's going to make anybody's life better tomorrow, but it may provide us an opportunity to include this in computing in some way in the future. But again, this isn't something that's going to cure cancer. It's not going to feed the hungry. It's more for the search for knowledge itself. And I guess in that respect, you could say that knowledge is its own reward.
Now, you mentioned earlier there's communities. Are there forums, like websites I can go to and see what other people are talking about, latest updates on the current project that they're working on?
Yeah. Each one of these projects has a dedicated web page. And that web page tracks the statistics of its members, the statistics of each of the groups that's participating. They have open forums and discussion. So, if you find a project that you like and you think that, hey, this thing's for me, you can really get involved with that community. You can talk to other people that are out there that are donating their computing time. There's casual conversations, and there's also technical conversations. There's really an opportunity to engage in each project as you want to.
Now, I'm going to ask you this. Of all the projects going on, is there one that just stands out, specifically out for you that if everybody that were to join the campaign, you would want them to just focus on that one project?
If I had to pick one and only one, it would be Rosetta at Home. That's one of the biology programs, and it's the one that's taking the three-dimensional shapes of proteins. And I picked that one because it could benefit the entire world tomorrow, or in a week, or a month. We're talking about the real opportunity to impact the world that we live in. But some of the funner ones, one of the ones that I really like in the physics is the Milky Way at Home, just because they're putting together models of the Milky Way galaxy. And I think it's important to know where we live and how our environment is acting around us, and maybe even some potential dangers out there. But again, if I just
the broadness of those two projects, you have one that's in space and one that's like just incredibly like on a micro scale. It's just like,
yeah, I was really impressed with the variety of projects that we're operating on the Blink platform. It really gives you an opportunity to find something that really means something to you as an individual.
Now, before I want to leave a little opportunity. It looks like we got someone that joined in on our conversation here. Before I bring them on, I wanted to anything else that we left out that you wanted to cover about your project?
I think we were able to hit a lot of the high points. What I would just really like to stress is that this isn't necessarily about this individual campaign and putting together this computer. This is more about getting exposure to the project. If you have computers that you would like to donate the idle time to, I think that's incredible. I'm really just trying to find a group of individuals who, for any reason, can't participate themselves, but would still like to contribute to this type of research.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we have Randall on. Randall, are you there?
Yep.
Hey, have you been watching the show so far? Listening in?
More or less, although I kind of walked in halfway through, so if I missed something, then...
Any questions about any of the research or Ryan's GoFundMe campaign?
Yeah, I had a question because Miguel asked about your energy bill and things like that. Do you think in the future you would want to set up your rigs, as I saw on your GoFundMe account, to be run, say, 100% renewable, or at least some proportion renewable energy, so that it's what's the good bleeding heart term? You're not hurting the environment by running all these computers 24/7.
That's a great question. I have Green Mountain Energy at my apartment, which is where I'm running.
Oh, perfect.
Energy buddies. Sorry.
So it's not 100% renewable, but they do have options to use more renewables as part of our electrical demand.
Okay, great.
I would love to move into, if this is a perfect world, I would love to select a plan that was 100% renewable. And if that option becomes available, I'll definitely look at it.
Oh, awesome. That was kind of my big question right there.
That's like self-sufficient. We're like using
because that's kind of something that you see. Of course, these are for the folks who have very, very deep pockets. They're trying to develop their server side, their data centers like Google, I think Amazon too. I forget who else, as completely self-sufficient by using renewable energy and their own little capacitor batteries and whatnot. So I was wondering, at a micro scale, would that be the same thing for you? And then, in that regard, should we see a future GoFundMe where you're going to be wanting to buy one of those new Tesla kilowatt batteries or whatever they're called?
I don't know that I'm going to get so big as to need one. I would love to have such a positive response that I had to worry about things like that.
Hey, aim high, man. You might as well.
Yeah. All right, Randall, did you have anything else?
Not really.
We got one
nice
out there. whoever that one viewer is, if you want to tweet us, definitely live right now. But Ryan, I appreciate you coming on, and I'd definitely like to do a follow-up in a couple weeks and just kind of see how the campaign's going and allow you to get more exposure out there, but also talk more about science. I like science.
Absolutely, Miguel, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk to you guys.
Awesome, guys. All right, well, with that said, any last words, anybody? No? We're good? All right. Well, then we're going to go ahead and sign off there. Thanks, Empty Ranters, for listening in. We're going to call this Rant 40. And you can check out Ryan's GoFundMe links. I'm going to re-record that part, guys. Okay. You can check out Ryan's GoFundMe link under the Empty Rant website under links. Also, feel free to email us questions, and we can redirect them to Ryan if you have any. All right. Anyways, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.